My name's Kyle Wilson. When I was about 12 years old, my dad, he came downstairs and he said, why don't you go outside, go make some friends. Went outside, I met some kids. All of them smoked cigarettes, they drank, they smoked weed. And at first I was kind of scared to do those things. And I remember the first time that I got high, I was 12. I continued to do those things. I continued to smoke, to drink, party, and that lifestyle just kind of consumed me. At some point, my addiction progressed because up to that point, I had experimented with a lot of drugs, but the only one that I ever consistently did was weed. I don't even remember how it happened actually, but I ended up getting addicted to Xanax. I went from taking pills on the weekend to taking pills every day. My addiction, that pull that I felt was just so strong, and I didn't want any opposition to that pull. I wanted to just indulge, and that's what I did. I indulged. I would say that when I started with the opiates, that's really when my life became unmanageable. A lot of people have this same story. You start with the pills, the Oxycontins, the Percocets, and then what happens is you build up a tolerance and you can't afford the pills anymore, and so you look for something cheaper, and that's what I did. I stopped doing the pills and I started doing heroin. When I did heroin for the first time, I didn't not do it for 3 months straight. I did it every single day. And I remember my friends telling me, you're gonna be sick, man. When you don't have it, you're gonna be sick. One day I didn't have money, and man, I remember how sick I was. And I never wanted to feel like that again. And instead of getting help, trying to stop the heroin, I just decided that I couldn't ever run out again. My addiction progressed so quickly when I started injecting. Within 4 months, I had gotten so strung out. I had totaled my car. I had lost my job. I was so reckless. I would do anything to get that next one. I was just sitting there man, how am I gonna get money? How am I gonna do this? And I'm sitting on this bench in a grocery store, and I look up, and there's a bank inside the grocery store. And so the wheels started turning, well, I need money. The bank has money. My inner dialogue in that moment as I'm sitting there contemplating robbing this bank was something like, man, this is crazy. There's no way you can do this. Yeah, but you really need money. You have to do it. You don't have a choice. I said a prayer in that moment. I didn't say a prayer to God. I said a prayer to the enemy, to the devil. I asked for, the power to go and do this thing. And I won't get into the specifics of how I robbed the bank, but I left with money. I ended up robbing 2 more banks, and I got caught. Naturally, I got caught. I went to jail. I went to federal prison. I was there for 7 years. I had used the whole time in prison too, because it's there just like it is in the real world. And a year before I was set to be released, I ended up overdosing. The guy who sold it to me found me on the bathroom floor, and when they found me, I was blue in color and I didn't have a pulse, and I was probably dead for about 3 minutes. When I died, there wasn't anything there. All it was I was just sinking. And it was just everything was black. It was just this black abyss, and there was no sound, and there was no light. There was nothing. They had Narcans in the prisons at that point, which was really the only reason I'm sitting here today. That, and I guess God had other plans for me too. I made a full recovery within a week. I really started thinking man, I really need something in my life. I need something. A higher power. I need something. In my mind, I had tried Christianity because I went to a Christian high school, even though I never prayed. I never did anything to actually try it. But I ended up getting close with someone in the rehab. He was always talking about how great it was, and I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I'll just go. And I remember, like, as soon as that service started, I just started feeling all these emotions. And it was strange because normally, I'm just I'm very emotionless. I've spent my whole life blocking out those things and not feeling them. But that night at that church, I couldn't hold back. Billy started speaking, and then I just felt it. I just felt something building. I mean, it wasn't like sad, happy either. It was just like I couldn't identify what it was. In that moment, during one of the songs, I just closed my eyes and I said a prayer. And I just said, just let my heart and my mind be open. And as soon as I said it, from head to toe, the warmest, happiest, most heartbreaking feeling just consumed me. And it was like I was like vibrating. I was radiating. My body was like pulsing, and I couldn't believe it. As soon as I opened up that door for God to walk in, like, he charged through it. And I went to the altar and I prayed, and, I accepted God. I accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. And, I decided to go to the lighthouse. I just had to follow that feeling. I have like 30 years of all these behaviors and thinking patterns that I'm trying to undo. The longer that I'm in this relationship with God, the more time that I spend in the Bible, the more that I'm really taking this serious now. I refuse to be like halfway in and halfway out, and I refuse to go back to that old lifestyle and that old self. I refuse to hear the words, "Depart from me, I never knew you." And so my whole thing now is trying to live a life of obedience, and it's not easy. God took away those cravings to use in an instant, and so I know that if he can take that away, then all these smaller things that I still struggle with, he has the power to take those away too. I don't want to miss out on God's plan or God's purpose for my life. I know he has something great for me, and my job right now is get to the point where I'm able to step into it, get to a place where I can be used. My life will never be the same, and that's a great thing. I'm just so excited about this path that I'm on, because I never could have pictured myself on this path. And now that I'm here, I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle.